What is up guys, welcome back to another video. I am actually in Canada right now. I'm doing a bunch of exploring on the East Coast and I thought it would be an interesting challenge to pretty much only shoot with one lens. This is a 24 to 70mm focal length and in my opinion is one of the most versatile lenses that exists for cameras nowadays. So I thought it would break down some reasons why I think this lens is pretty much your best bet for photo and video. So before I get absolutely bitten to death by mozzies, let's jump into it. So this stupid guy right here said that this lens right here is a 24 to 70mm, when in fact actually it's the Sony 16 to 70mm ZEISS f4. On a crop sensor camera though, like the a6500, the equivalent focal length is more like a 24mm to 105mm, so the basic principles of what I'm talking about in this video are the same. Without further ado, let's get back into it. So let's talk about focal length. The focal length of a lens is the range of zooming potential, though this is a pretty simplistic way to explain it. So I think the 24 to 70mm focal length is pretty much one of my favorites because it's the most versatile lens for different situations. Let's take travel for instance, as since I've said I'm out here in Canada at the moment. Both of these shots were taken with the same lens, meaning that you can shoot extremely wide or with a pretty decent telephoto potential and completely change the feeling of your shot, yet using the same lens. There's a little bit of an argument about whether prime lenses produce a much better image than a variable focal length lens, and overall I do tend to agree. In a controlled environment I would always opt for a prime lens over a variable lens, but the majority of the time that I have my camera with me, it's not actually a controlled environment, so having the option to switch it up is super useful. So another reason I just love the focal length is because it's both amazing for photo and video. As somebody who shoots both all the time when I'm on a trip like this, don't underestimate how annoying it is having different lenses that are more specialized for each. Being able to shoot both wide and also quite zoomed in just gives you so much more variety in each and every shot you're taking. I'm kind of showing that off here with some of these shots taken at Niagara Falls. In terms of prices, this 16 to 70mm is kind of a mid-weight lens. It's not super affordable, but it's also not a really high-end option. As a general rule of thumb, the lower the f-stop potential of the lens, the more expensive it's going to get. So the absolute holy grail for me as a Sony shooter is the G Master 24 to 70mm, but that's going to run you a couple of grand, so maybe wait a year or so to see whether or not I do a video on that particular lens. Anyway, I will link a few of the cheap and medium and expensive options for this lens down below in the description. One of the only real issues I've found is that because you have to spend an absolute bomb on a lower f-stop variant of this lens, they tend to not be great in low light situations. For this reason, I do normally have to bring an additional lens with me, like this Sigma 30mm f1.4, and have that in my kit bag too in order to capture really low light shots. Like this one when I was on Toronto Island, that just makes it a little bit easier. So at this point, I'm kind of just showing you a bunch of shots I took on this trip to Canada to give you an idea of the type of shots that you can achieve by basically bringing one lens with you, just like this one. Overall, I just feel like it's the perfect lens choice if you're looking to buy a lens for the first time for a new camera, or you just want an extremely versatile lens that's going to be great in certain situations. Give me a shout if you guys have any questions about focal lengths, crop factors, anything else you can think of down below in the comments. Hopefully you did enjoy this video, pretty brief on this lens, but I do think it's an absolute staple piece of kit for photographers or filmmakers, so hopefully you did find it useful, and I will catch you guys next time.